Now this role is hard enough to say, never mind to make sense of in the game. It's Know Your Roles, the Carrilero. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Know Your Roles. It's been a little while, hasn't it? We've been busy, but we're back with one of the best series I think. One of the best ones we do. And it's the Carrilero. I'm going to mispronounce that all day long. So if you want to get out of the way, get in the comments and itemise how the hell to say that word. Now this one gets asked about a lot. It's similar to different roles. The Mezzala comes to mind. How do we make it work in a game? Who's doing it in real life? Let's go. So first of all, what the hell does the game make of the Carrilero? Well, let's have a look. The Carrilero, or shuttler. Do you know, if they're going to say that, I wish I just called it shuttler. A support role. So you notice you can't bring it up to attack there. Utilised as part of a midfield three, more often than not. Or as two central midfielders, which we're going to look at both today. It's their job to cover lateral areas of the pitch. So sideways, depending on which side they start. Linking defensive midfield with the attacking midfield as well. So that's what FM says about the role. Now, thinking about players in today's football who play that role, it's tricky. You wouldn't say there's a specialist who's playing that week in, week out. So we're just going to look at 3 players now who I think can do that role and sometimes do. So what we have here are 3 players who can play that role. I wouldn't say they're necessarily known for this role, but they can very definitely do it. And when you look at the teams they're playing, quite often they will do this role. Ander Herrera's got a job on at PSG. He's playing far more than people thought he would. But when you look at the wing-backs and wide players for PSG, he's got a cover in these areas. Now, the middle one is Fred. Much maligned Fred, all right? But with Ragnick in charge now, he's going to be in this role more often than not. And he's the guy we'll use for our examples today. And lastly, it's Rodri. Does not use this role at Man City. But his attributes can mean that he is probably the perfect Carrilero in the game. 3 different examples there of the Carrilero. Some of them do that role throughout a game, little bits of the game, and in the case of Rodri, not at all, but attribute-wise, very definitely can. So then, if we're going to use a Carrilero, what formation are we going to put him in? Here's some examples. Okay, so first up is the 4-2-4. Now, what I want you to see on this one is the left-hand side and the aggressiveness of Shaw, and you've got Fernandez as well. So when Shaw's bombing on up here, and Fernandez is cutting in here, Shaw then bombing on there, we can see the gap that comes here. So if you watch the games recently, Fred has been sitting, coming across, covering these areas, which is ideal for this role. So a 4-2-4, when you've got aggressiveness in the wing back and the player in front of him, Carrilero can come across and cover. It's a very similar story for a formation such as a diamond, a narrow formation, where you've got one player doing the work down the left. So he's going to be ultra aggressive as Shaw. He's going to spend a lot of the time here or even here. So you can use a Carrilero to pop into the gaps and cover up when he's gone forward. Another classic is the 4-3-3. Again, it's all about how aggressive they are outside of him. And you can see there, we've got a wing back on attack with an inverted winger on attack. Both aggressive, both leaving these areas at the back there. So pop them one in there to supply cover in and around here. Can work really well. So hopefully you can get the gist there. It's all about aggressiveness and he's covering gaps. So filling gaps where you might be exposed. There's loads of formations to use that for. 3 in the back systems where you've got maybe an attacking wing back with a wide centre back even. Check out the video on those if you haven't seen those already. So it's a really handy role. And I'll tell you what, it's probably one of, if not the most underused midfield role certainly in FM. When would you not use it though? What formations does it not quite make sense for? If your setup is similar to this, so maybe a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-4-2, fullback not being overly aggressive and the winger in front of him. Not much point bringing a Carrilero across there. Going to get in each other's way, especially the fullback, because he's not committing to going over there all the time. So it's a bit of an overkill in cover there, so not too sensible, not needed, different role. What's this, a 4-3-3? Now I did just recommend you use one in a 4-3-3 now and again, but again it's all about the roles rather than the formation in this case. So yes, my wing back's bombing on, yes my winger's going to bomb on. Fred coming in there, look behind him though. We've got an anchorman and their main duty is to get across and fill the gaps, so we don't need them both covering over there. Bit of a waste. Now in the game, attribute wise, Rodri, like I alluded to, has perfect attributes for this role. Let's take a look. So you can think of someone in your squad maybe who could do the role. So here is Rodri, and you can see there he can play in either defensive midfield or midfield, and that's a good combination to start with. Attributes are highlighted there for the Cavaliero, and it's all about positioning. It's a lot of defensive and mental stuff going on there. Anticipation, so he can see the ball, pick off the pass. You've got composure, concentration, decision making, all ideal. Positioning, teamwork, vision. So he's still got an eye for a pass if you look at his technicals as well. First touch, passing, technique. Physicals aren't needed as much. Things like acceleration, agility, balance, because you're not going to be dribbling with the ball if you choose this player. Pace as well. It's all about watching the game, the vision of the game, dictating it from deep, cutting things out. Man's perfect for it. So what's he doing in the game? A lot of people get confused between the Mezzala and the Carrilero. They think that they're going in the same positions and they don't know the difference. Everyone goes for the Mezzala because it's that little bit sexier. But what does he do in the game? Let's get the 2D out. Let's have a look. Okay, crew, we're in game. We've gone with a 4-2-4 for Man United, and you can see just there I've highlighted Big Fred. He's already to the left, and you can see how aggressive that Shaw is already started. He's already making a move forward, and he's got Bruno Fernandes inside him. So let's see the positional play more than anything of Fred. I'm not expecting him to score a hat-trick, put it that way. Interesting little movement here. So the ball's on its way to Shaw. There is Fred. He's still kind of central next to Ilčić. There he is. It's going to Shaw. Now watch what he does. He comes over to the left-hand side. So immediately, bang. See him dart. He darted back because it's down this side. He knows that Shaw wants to link with Fernandes to bomb down the line. Now it's important to remember that even though he's a Carrilero and it says stay wider on his hard-code instructions, he is still, like the Mezzala, a central midfielder. So he's going to govern the central midfield as well. He just spends a bit more time out wide. His average position won't be over here, for example. It's going to be in and around there. You can see when we've got the ball here, especially with only two central midfielders, he does act like a normal central midfielder, coming to show for the ball. There he is, picks it up, immediately looking for the easy pass to Ronaldo. The point of that little clip was just to show that it is feasible to use him in a two-man midfield as well. He's not going to just stay out wide. He's not a winger. He's not a winger. Now, with all Know Your Roles video, I like to include a clip that properly sums up the role, and I think this one is it. Just remember, Carrilero, it's a support role, it's not defend duty, so he does back the forward movements up to a point. Maguire's got the ball here. As we play it on, you can see Fred just in front of him. The ball goes to Ronaldo and Greenwood. Now, they're kind of isolated up front by themselves. So Fred here, on support, thinks, I'll back him up. As we play it on, Greenwood picks up the ball. Now you've got Ronaldo, Greenwood, McTominay and Fred. So he's backing up the strikers to a point. Remember, the ball comes out to Ronaldo. Now, the ball's gone left. You can see Fred, he's just had a little look, thinking, is Shaw coming? What's Fernandes doing? Plays it on. Fernandes gets the ball. Here comes Shaw. Off goes Fred to that left-hand side. And look at that, providing the cover in this gap perfectly. Shaw continues down the line. Fred is there. So if the ball breaks down, he can get back and cover Shaw's ass. It's a perfect example of a Carrilero in full flow. The biggest question I'm going to get is what's the difference between him and a Mezzala, and I'm going to get to that next. There's all sorts you can do with your player though. You can make him more or less aggressive as you see fit. Let's click on Fred now. You can see I've got tackle harder on, and the only other hard-coded instruction is stay wider. As we go to his play instructions, you can start to see the differences now between that and a Mezzala. For example, you're not given the option to dribble because he's not going to do that much. Dribble more, dribble less. He's hard-coded to hardly ever dribble. You can ask him to shoot more often. You can ask him to take more risks. So if he's a good passer of the ball, get him taking more risks, more direct passing. He can still use a bit of a playmaker role from back there and be more aggressive. He can get further forward so he can do his work higher up the park. He's a good crosser of the ball. He can cross as well. So you can see now he's getting close to a Mezzala, just being a little bit less aggressive. So now it becomes a really good option if you're playing a Mezzala to change him to a Carrilero with a few PIs for away games maybe. So he's just slightly more defensive minded. For this next match, I'm going to use the Stinger Zio tactic. Download is just above you there if you want to see this tactic in action. It's a belter. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change one role to the Carrilero, which I've done there. And I'm going to have the other side, the Mezzala. So I'm going to have Mezzala one side and a Carrilero the other side. And we're going to see the difference in the average positions these two take up. So I would expect Fernandez to be way more aggressive than Fred, but Fred's still doing stuff as well, so let's see. Even there you can see the difference. Fred hanging back there at the halfway line, just chilling out. And on the other side, Fernandez pressing basically on the 18-yard box, almost as a third striker. Here again, you remember what Fred's first move was when it ball went out wide? He wanted to go and cover, didn't he? Now look at Fernandez down here. There's no way Fred ever got that high up the pitch. And as it plays on, when Pogba receives the ball there, watch Fernandez's first movement here. Fred picks up the ball, funnily enough, and Fernandez, look at that, look at that. He's trying to get in the box. There's no way Fred gets anywhere close to the box. There's a big difference between the two roles. Some little funky player stats now to wrap this up about the Mezzala v the Carrilero. Let's have a look at passes completed, and you can see the roaming the Mezzala does compared to Fred's role, the Carrilero. First up, passes completed. So Fred in that left side Carrilero role. There they are. You can see all of them down the left hand side, other than a random one up the top there. Now, as for Bruno Fernandes, he's all over the place. He's getting into these areas as well. He's roaming around a bit more. He's got a bit more of a free roll. If you look at Fred here, it's all down this side. Take Fred out of the equation. Fernandez, it's got more of a roaming free roll, and more of them are advanced. This is a little interesting one. Kind of gives you a unique guide into the way the two roles really differ. Headers, aerial challenges. Bruno Fernandes, where's his headers at? Both in the box. In an attacking setting, take them out there. Fred's, however, there you go. He's all over the place. Mostly down the left-hand side. And 3 of them in the defensive third. If you look at Fernandez again in comparison, he's not interested in that defensive part, is he? Fred does more work in that Carrilero role. Fernandez does more work higher up. Finally, the heat map. Here's Fred's. Just a bit like the passing, you can see when I click on him, there it is. It's all kind of down this left-hand side towards the middle as well. When we go on to Bruno Fernandes, however, you can see, yes, it's up on the right-hand side, but there's little dots all over the place as well. Getting in and around the box. He's just more roaming around a bit more. Less eye on covering defensive situations. More eye on affecting the game in the attacking third. So there you have it, the Cavaliero. I think that is one of the most underused and underrated roles in this game. You can make it more aggressive if you like we saw with the PIs. He actually gets up higher as well. Support duty, not defend. He's going to get higher up. And you can make him into a close Mezzala, but a little bit less aggressive. So you feel like you're getting a bit exposed when you're using a Mezzala. It's a great option to drop it back into a Carrilero with some extra PIs. Hope you enjoyed that. It's really good to do these know your roles. They are in depth. They're a bit geeky, but I kind of like that. If there's any other roles you want done, bang them down below. We are working through them now. We've done 6 or 7. As always, if you enjoyed that, please do drop the channel a sub. We are getting ever closer to 5,000 now, and I can't thank you enough.